Benvenuto, welcome to Cherry Hill Home Cooking. My name is Mark. Today we're gonna make meatloaf. Why? Because I've been craving meatloaf. I haven't made it for quite a while, and it's one of the very first uploads that we did to the our channel, and I thought we'd update it. As I've said before, we've been doing a few of those now that we know a little bit more what we're doing. Regardless of how the end product ends out, even after this one, we know a little bit more. But anyway, so everybody loves meatloaf. I love meatloaf. Do you love meatloaf, Wade?
I love it.
Yummy. And again, it's one of those things, everybody's got a recipe to it. Now, I will say one thing. A lot of people I know, when they make meatloaf, they just, oh yeah, I got this, I got that, I throw a little bit. Okay, that's good, and I'm sure it's delicious. But as I've told you guys before, once I kind of get a recipe to the point that I like it, I write it down, and I make it the same way all the time because I want Wade to enjoy the meatloaf. I know that's the way he enjoys it. I want to enjoy it, and whoever we share it with, so I always follow my recipe. Okay, so just a couple quick things. Of course, we're making a meatloaf, so we need ground beef. Now, this is 80-20. Don't use anything with a lower fat content. 80-20 is perfect for this. You could even go a little less if you want, but then it might be a little bit too greasy. But if you use 85-15 or 90-10, your meatloaf is going to be really, really dry. Okay. The other thing I want to talk a little bit about before we just quickly go over the rest of the simple ingredients is, now I use dried onions for this. If you want to use fresh onions, just, a good size, large onion, chop it up small, saute it in a little bit of olive oil until it's soft. But as I was doing this recipe years ago, that always kind of seemed the thing that hijacked me at the end, when I get home. Oh, now I gotta dirty another frying pan and so on and so forth. So anyway, what I do is I take 5 tablespoons of dried onions. I put them in a container, and I just cover them with a little bit of warm water, and I let them, sit there for 5-10 minutes. I did add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce because as we were going, I'm going to almost add everything into there. And they get nice and rehydrated, and I find it works perfect. So, chopped onions. Wade actually introduced me to chopped onions many, many years ago. I'll tell you that story. If you want to hear it, let me know. All right, so we talked about our beef. Of course, we're going to need a couple eggs, lightly mixed. We need salt and pepper. We need some garlic powder and onion powder. I'm not sure if those are in that order, and then some dried parsley. Again, we talked about the chopped onions. We need some Worcestershire sauce, of course. We need a couple garlic cloves. And we're going to make, we need some breadcrumbs. All right, so for this, I always use just whatever the white bread that you use to have sandwiches with, that's what you're going to use. You need 4 slices of it. And we're going to make a sweet and sticky glaze for it. Now, in the recipe, I'm going to put it for just, kind of enough to put on top of the meatloaf as you bake it. I always double it because ultimately, we're going to want some more, whether for the next day or, and one of my favorite things with meatloaf is to make a meatloaf sandwich the next day. And it's always nice to have a little bit of the extra sauce on it. All right, this is going to go together so quick. Oh, so breadcrumbs. I got them in my little thing here. And you want those mixed or chopped fine. All right, we'll go on to that with the rest of the recipe. See you in a bit. We're going to pick up this mess and we'll get everything together. Okay, I've got my breadcrumbs all nicely crumbled up. I'm sorry, I went ahead and chopped our garlic up. But anyway, so you want to chop your garlic up, your 3 garlic cloves. Either dice them or use a handy dandy chopper like this. All right, now the one thing I didn't mention when we first got here is I didn't mention the beef base. Okay, now you don't have to 100% have this in there. This Better Than Bouillon is one of the things I've changed about my recipe over the years. Is I've started using this. I reduced. Normally, I use 2 pounds of salt, 2 teaspoons of salt per pound of beef. I've reduced that in this recipe to 1 teaspoon. And the reason I do 2 teaspoons per pound of beef is that the Barefoot Contessa, Ina Garten, says that's how you season ground beef when you're using it. It's 2 teaspoons per pound. But anyway, so now I used to do this where I soaked the breadcrumbs, but I don't really think that's necessary. You can do this. You can soak the breadcrumbs if you want. You would take a teaspoon of your beef base, and again, be pretty precise. This is already salty and very umami. All right, you need 1/3 of a cup of water. You can mix the beef base in and then soak your breadcrumbs. Like I said, I no longer feel that's necessary to soak them, so I don't anymore. But I do put all of those in there. So I've got my Worcestershire sauce. I've got my onions, my beef base. If it will come out. And we're going to mix that all together, so that will get incorporated nice. We've got our lightly beaten eggs, and we've got all of our seasonings. All right, so we can go ahead and sprinkle those, our salt, our pepper, our onion powder, garlic powder, whatever else is in there is in the recipe. All right, so now that's all ready to go. We've got, like I said, I'm doubling this, so I've got a cup of ketchup in here. I've got 6 tablespoons of brown sugar and 2 tablespoons of black pepper, freshly ground black pepper. We'll let that sit out there for a second. We don't need that right now. Normally I do it in a 9x 12 or 13 size baking dish. We've got our oven set to 350. We actually have some baked potatoes in there too, so that's been cooking for a while. So really, the next thing we're gonna do is my little spatula. There it is. So let's get everything in our bowl with our meat and breadcrumbs. And we got our lightly beaten egg. Now's the fun part. Get in there and mix it up because my hands are already nice and clean. I washed them right before we came back. Now I find that a lot of people they hate mixing any ground beef because it's really cold. If take it out of the refrigerator about an hour before you're gonna mix it together, and it'll make it a little bit less painful. All right, so we're just gonna go in and mix this all together. It helps if you got a big bowl, but if you don't, do the best you can. Now I think we've talked about this other times when we've done meatballs or other. They say don't overmix it; you make it tough. I guess I didn't go to culinary school, but I don't know. I've never. Maybe I should undermix it one time and see. But my point being is we want to get that nicely incorporated. Get all our bread in there, and we want to get it to the point where it's, kind of making a ball and will stick together. All right, I think we got everything mixed well. Now, the thing with meatloaf, and again, the first thing was we're using 80-20 ground beef. And the second thing is you want to make sure not to overcook it, all right? So we're going to just freestyle it into a loaf. We'll push that over there. Wade, would you push that over to me? Right here. Now it's funny. I used to do it in a loaf pan, and I find it gets the texture is different. I don't know why. My grandmother used to make an Italian style meatloaf, and she would, she did it in a loaf pan, but she would, her recipe was a bit different than this, and then she would push hard-boiled eggs into it. I should make it like that one of these days. Anyway, so you want to get it into a rough loaf shape. Oh, as I started to say, so, you know, a lot of times people will cook their meatloaf. So the way I do it is I like to, you know, we're going to put it in the 350 oven for probably about 45 minutes. I'm going to check it at probably about 35. And I want the internal temperature, you know, we'll check it right here, to be at least 160. 165 for beef is fully cooked. But I find one of the other good things with meatloaf is if you let it rest before you cut into it, you're going to get some nice, more even pieces. So that way, you know, while it rests, it will go up to 165 and get fully cooked. Let me just wash my hands off. Show them the birds in the meantime. Anything interesting out there? Huh? Anything interesting? Any birds? Wade and I have, well, you got a yellow finch out there. We really enjoy the birds all year long. Of course, we, in our area, we get cardinals and blue jays, and so a lot of the finches stay for the whole year. But of course, summertime, spring, we're able to, last several years ago, we've been able to attract the orioles. Oh, is he there? Oh, no orioles there. Oh, and we, the butterflies. So what I have found, when we first started, of course, we bought kind of a feeder, not expensive. I think we got a Walmart. It's very, very inexpensive, as a matter of fact. The first year we tried, or I should say the first couple weeks, we tried just putting fresh oranges out there because everybody said that's what they like. Well, I'm sure they love the oranges, but that's a bit... Oop, we got a catbird out there. All right, he's not going to show you guys. But anyway, so the Orioles also love grape jelly. So that's what last few years I've been using grape jelly, and we get them several times a day. All right, guys, so we got this roughly formed into a loaf, and we're going to... Now, if I had just did a single recipe, it would have been a half a cup. We want to spread that all over, round down the sides. Now, because I'm going to use this, of course, all my spoons are in the dishwasher. Because I'm going to, this is going to cook, and this isn't. I'm going to just put this on the side. I'm going to take another spoon so we don't contaminate it. But that's all there is to it. So you want to spread it on nice and thick. Let it fall down the sides. Alright guys, and that's all there is to it. Alright, I'm going to put this in our preheated 350 degree oven, and it's going to be about 45 minutes or so. Like I said, we'll check it in at about 35 for the internal temperature, and I'll let you know if it reached the 160 at that point. But alright, so we'll see you sometime within the next 35, 45 minutes. All right, guys, I've checked it a couple times, and we haven't quite reached that sweet spot of 160. So I know during the video I said let it, it should take about 45 minutes. I don't know why I said that. It should take anywhere between 55 minutes and say 65 minutes. All right, we're just at a little bit about an hour, and oops, a hot steam. We're gonna give it a it's already forgot. I'm glad I left it in there, and we are, because I can't see. We are actually at a little higher than 160. So we are good. So officially, I'm going to say we're going to let it cook about 55 minutes at 350. All right, we're going to let it rest, and then we're going to eat, and I'm starving. So we'll see you at dinner time. Hey, guys.
I'm so excited
I'm so excited about meatloaf, and I'm hungry. Well, it's supper time. Then we got our meatloaf. We got some dinosaur mashed baked potatoes there. Those are huge. I didn't realize they were big. I'm gonna put a little extra sauce on mine because I love this sauce. So what did I say? We got some sweet peas. I was gonna make some. I was gonna make asparagus, but it just did not look good today. This was my So we got some canned sweet peas. Okay, what do you think?
I'm gonna go for the star of the dish.
Yep. Meatloaf. I think I haven't made a meatloaf in a while.
Delicious as always.
That is the world's best meatloaf. Wade said, we're just going to call it meatloaf. I said, yeah. I said, well, doesn't mean we'll call it the world's best meatloaf. I said, I haven't made it in a while, but it's tasty.
It is.
Very good. That's a nice meatloaf.
Delicious.
I'm funny. I haven't made it in a while because it's not like I cook every single day. So we haven't had meatloaf in a while. I mean, I cook a few times a week. A lot of times we'll have leftovers. But we don't really eat that much red meat during the week at all. Think of it.
Right,
Considering how much it looks like we're always eating, right? But anyway, that's all I got to say for now.
Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe, and check out cherryhillhomecooking.com, and we'll see you on the next video.
Ciao.
Bye. That is delicious.